Ladies, when we have sex, we get to decide when sex is going to happen, especially for those men who are gentlemen who will wait for you and not rape you. They will wait and wait and wait. You still have control, but the day you decide you want to have sex with this person, you're actually transferring your control to this person, and then that control is with them. They can decide whether they leave you. They can decide when they will marry you. That's why we have women who have stayed with guys for the longest time and they are still not marrying you, because you already transferred your control. So if you stay and say, love me by showing me that you will not have sex with me, you will commit and do the right thing and do all the things that is necessary for us to get married, then you still have control. And then you will hear a man saying that I am not ready to have a baby after the person is pregnant. I mean, I saw a TikTok account where a girl was actually vomiting and the guy was just standing there saying, I am not ready to have a child. What were you thinking when you had sex with that person? And then you would hear people who say, you love me, therefore you need to have sex so that you can prove that you love me. How about you start saying, if you love me, then I will not have sex until you have shown commitment that you love me. Hello, my name is Lindy Sherris and welcome to my channel. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the family. If you are a regular subscriber, thank you so much for your continuous support and encouragement always. You can also follow me on TikTok and also Instagram. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the baggage that comes with having sex before marriage. And this is not coming from someone who didn't have sex before marriage. I know what I'm talking about because God did ban me the hard way. So without wasting time, let's go to today's video. So the first reason why we shouldn't have sex before marriage is because God is saying we shouldn't have sex before marriage because He knows what's best for us. Sex before marriage comes with so many problems, guys, and I am only going to list few. You can also comment in this video so that you can list some of these problems that comes with us having sex before marriage. Unplanned pregnancy, anything that is not planned, guys, it is so difficult to maintain. Just like when you have your budget and then you have certain things that you want to do with your budget, but then if something comes and you didn't plan for it, obviously it will take you out of that budget and then you'll end up being in debt or you'll end up owing something because you didn't plan properly. So the same way with unplanned pregnancies, you will have that child and only to find out you are not ready to bring a child into this world. You are not ready to actually support that child. I know many people will say, yes, a child will grow. Yes, God will provide for that child to grow, but then there are certain things that we need for that child. I mean, there's schooling, there's transport, there's food, there's pampers, there's so many things that are needed. Even emotional part of that child, you need to be available for that child in order to raise that child well. So that's one problem that we need to also be aware of, that when you plan for your child, and I know at times God can just surprise you. But if you are not having sex, you cannot be pregnant just like Mary. That only happened with Mary. We never heard of anyone who became pregnant being a virgin except Mary. Guys, let's just plan for our kids so that we can give the best and provide for those kids. We find so many kids that are raised by their grannies because the mothers are out there working or not able to take care of those kids. And sometimes they will just go and have kids and go dump the child with the granny, and then grannies are not even enjoying their retirement anymore. They're just sitting there raising our kids because we didn't plan for those kids. And there are so many kids who are in different shelters around the world, and those parents were not ready to bring that child into this world, and now kids are stuck there. Some of them are not well taken care of, mainly because we didn't stop having sex. So that's why we have to wait for marriage before we can have sex. And the second reason why you shouldn't have, and the problem that it brings if you have sex before marriage, the STDs and AIDS and other sicknesses that comes with us having sex, unprotected sex. Because when we start, we think we can use condom, and then it gets to a point where we do not want to use condom, and then we'll think we'll take the morning after pill, and then we'll do all these things. Some people will even suggest concussions, saying it will get rid of that baby before the baby is even formed. So there are so many things like AIDS, STDs, all these different sicknesses. And why would you want to go through that process where you are just given AIDS because you didn't protect yourself, because you didn't stop having sex? So that's another problem why we should stop having sex before marriage. Also, it creates this emotionally dependency because you feel like something is taken away from you and you feel like that person must be there, so you become vulnerable and start chasing that person because you feel like you are dependent on that person for happiness. So why would you want to put yourself in that emotional trauma because you just had sex before marriage? My second reason is, how do you know that someone loves you? And I believe sex shouldn't be something that is done casually where we just have sex, and I know it is a norm. People would just have sex in parties, have sex everywhere, but then this is something that should happen between two people who love each other, because when you have sex you become one with that person. So then there's a danger, because how do you know that someone loves you? And then you would hear people who say, you love me, therefore you need to have sex so that you can prove that you love me. How about you start saying, if you love me, then I will not have sex until you have shown commitment that you love me. And then that will also take time and also show if a person is committed to you. So without wasting time and wasting your energy and changing multiple partners, the one who waits, and if the person is willing to wait to save money so that they can pay lobola, which is the bride price, or even wait so that they can marry you before having sex with you, it shows that person maybe is committed to that marriage. Maybe this person does love you, because a person who is willing to go an extra mile and wait and do all these things and save and actually go include both parents and involve the whole families so that you guys can get married, that person is probably serious about you, because you would never, or maybe you will hardly find men who will actually pay and even marry a person without love, or if they do not want to get something out of that. So the best way to check if someone loves you is just to say, I love you, but then let's wait. Let it not be, I love you, let's have sex, because then you keep changing these partners and then you won't get any commitment and you will be vulnerable, wanting someone to do something that they are not ready to do. Also, marriage is not just about sex. Sex is just one part of marriage. Marriage is also about finances. It's also about two families joining, having your family and building that family. And it is also about making a choice, because the physical attraction will go away. Guys, trust me, if you are attracted to someone and decide to marry that person because of their physical attraction, that thing goes away. Even if they remain beautiful to your eyes, it will get to a point when that person doesn't look that good anymore, and then sex and the physical attraction won't be able to sustain that marriage. There are families, there are in-laws, guys. So beauty fades, guys. Beauty fades. Marriage is not only about sex. Sex is just one part, which is also created by God so that we can enjoy each other. But it is not the ultimate thing that is needed for you to get married or to be in a relationship. There's other factors that are needed for your marriage to work. So sex connects us. So when two people have sex, they actually get connected. And the connection is not just physical, it is also spiritual. That's why when you want to separate with that person, it is difficult. For a man, they can come and have sex with you. And for a woman, they can come and have sex with you. But then one party somewhere, somehow, they'll be connected to that person and they wouldn't want that person to move on. So it is not about just having sex and then we can go. Usually people will even say, okay, let's just be friends with benefit, but then it will get to a point where emotions, where people start connecting to each other, and then those separate relationships, especially if they are married, those relationships will suffer, because those two people, there is no way that you can spend time and also have sex with a person in the longest run just for fun and not develop some sort of feelings. So guys, it is dangerous to have sex. And also as well, I like the example that is always given, that it is like a duct tape that is connected to your body, and then it connects the two people when they have sex, and then when the tape is ripped off, you actually move into another person and another tape is created. And all of this is spiritual, where two spirits are connecting, and now there's different spirits which are fighting, and that person will actually go into so much confusion. You'll see that person actually going into a bad state where they are so confused and start having relationships with different people, because there was so much connection and disconnection, connection and disconnection. sticky. So guys, think about it. You get to a point when this duct tape, it is no longer sticky. So there's a danger in having sex with multiple people because it connects us. Another reason is single parents, guys. I know when we check around us, most people who are left with kids is women. A man, it's easy to have a baby and then move on to another relationship where they will meet somebody else and that person will say, I am not taking care of your child. And for some reason, men usually don't see, and most of the time they do not fight in order to provide for that child. And then you will hear a man saying that I am not ready to have a baby after the person is pregnant. I mean, I saw a TikTok account where a girl was actually vomiting and the guy was just standing there saying, I am not ready to have a child. What were you thinking when you had sex with that person? Did you really think that person will not fall pregnant? I mean, guys, we both need to take responsibility of protecting ourselves. We cannot place the responsibility on a woman and say, you go take the pill so that we do not have a baby. And then when the baby is here, the one who suffers the most is the single parent, because now that person goes and have another relationship with a different person, and that person will say, we do not have enough money to send to your child. And for some reason, some men do not fight to make sure that that child is well taken care of. And even when they fight, they will send whatever they can afford is convenient for them. They do not see the cost of raising that child. I mean, guys, when a person sends 500 rand, and then when you look at just milk, especially if you're not breastfeeding, I mean, think about it, guys. Just buying milk, 200 rand is gone. Pampers, 200 rand is gone. What else is your child going to eat? Medical aid, all these other things that are needed to raise a child usually are left with the woman. So women suffer the most when we have babies, because there's so many women who have kids, sometimes 4 or 5, and the fathers left because, I mean, they don't see any responsibility. I mean, just looking at my friends, I mean, top 20 of my friends, there's only one guy who I know, he's really taking care of his kids, and the woman separated with the man, and he is providing every need for those kids. It is rare to find such a man. Usually men will say, okay, then I'll buy what the child needs, I'll buy the food, and then there's so many things that the child needs, and most of the time, because the woman must take care of these kids, sometimes they can't work, sometimes they have to take these kids to crash, and all of this is all placed on a woman. So guys, it's so difficult for a woman to have a child, and because men are not really fully responsible. I'm not saying every man out there is not taking care of their kids, but then I am saying it's easy for a man to live and only contributes a certain amount, and that amount, it is not enough. And also my friend said something which was very important. She said she is raising a son, and now obviously if you do not know what to say to that son, you will raise that son with the woman values, with what you know, with what God has placed in you. If there is no man in that child who's a man, obviously those values that are coming from women, that man, that child will grow up be a man who has values from a woman. That's why you find men who are not ready sometimes, because the man was not there to actually influence. So then we blame our kids because they're not ready. I mean, I believe men are there for protection. Men are there to lead. The Bible says men are leaders and women will submit. And for my friend to say that she is raising the way she knows how to raise that child, but then at some point she can see that her son wants to be a leader, but then how is that son going to be a leader if there is no leadership that is shown to that child? So there are so many things, guys, that are happening to these kids. We need men to actually come into the child's life and actually show direction. How are we going to teach that daughter all the lessons that are supposed to come from a man? Guys, there are so many issues that are going out there because men are absent. So single women suffers the most. The next reason, it is so easy to separate. Now let's think about it. If you date someone and then things don't turn out well, or maybe you start having an argument, it is easy to separate from that relationship because, I mean, there is no commitment, there is no marriage, there's nothing. So you will separate easily with the person. So if you are married, you tend to actually stay because there are so many commitments that are made, the finances, the commitment made in front of God, the kids as well. So it is not easy to let go of a relationship because there is so much that was put in that relationship, and also the choice that you make. So it is not easy to leave that relationship because of the commitment that you have made. But then if it's just a relationship, guys, a person will just leave you anytime because there is no commitment that was made. The next reason is transfer of control. Ladies, when we have sex, we get to decide when sex is going to happen, especially for those men who are gentlemen who will wait for you and not rape you. They will wait and wait and wait. You still have control, but the day you decide you want to have sex with this person, you're actually transferring your control to this person, and then that control is with them. They can decide whether they leave you. They can decide when they will marry you. That's why we have women who have stayed with guys for the longest time and they are still not marrying you, because you already transferred your control. So if you stay and say, love me by showing me that you will not have sex with me, you will commit and do the right thing and do all the things that is necessary for us to get married, then you still have control. They don't marry you, then already you know that they are not serious about you. And the day you decide to have sex, and now we will start chasing those guys because we feel something is taken for us, and then you have delivered your part and now they have to deliver their part, and most of the time they don't deliver their part. So ladies, let us hold on to our control, because then we can protect ourselves and know that this person truly loves us by going through all these steps to show that they love us. The next reason is anything that you get easy or is given easy, you don't really appreciate it that much. I mean, they are saying like things that are given on a silver platter, or there are sayings like if you milk the cow and then you get milk every day, why must you buy the cow? So guys, let us stop selling ourselves short and giving easy and give sex easy, because it won't be valued because no one worked for it. I mean, I look at those guys who actually wait and marry their wives as virgins. Most of them, they tend to appreciate those wives and they tend to be protective because they do not want the second man to say that I also had that wife. So those guys, they tend to actually appreciate. Guys, let's just make sure that we work hard for things that we truly value and love in our life. I can talk and talk and talk and talk, but then the decision lies with you. But then I have given you some of the reasons that you can think about before having sex, before marriage. It is just a feeling that you need to control. If certain people can stay years and years without having sex, it is possible. And if you do not know how to do it, you can pray to God to help you to kill those feelings so that you can focus on what is important before actually committing to have sex with that person. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, comment so that this video can be shared to many people. And thank you so much for your continuous support.